Hello everyone, this is Remlays from 40k Theories, and welcome to the November 2019 edition of the Patreon Q&A sessions. As always, if you would like your questions answered, then click the link in the video description below and help support the channel by becoming a patron. Now, let's jump into the questions. Brandon A asks, does Malice have a domain within the Warp like the other Chaos Gods? Officially, no. Well, none that we know of. We know with the four main Chaos Gods that their domains border each other like, countries in the Warp. They have various landmarks, citadels, fortresses, etc., and this is from one of the Warhammer Fantasy Demon books. Now, it's possible that the minor Chaos Gods, so gods like Malice, Hashut, etc., they may not actually have domains large enough to actually, be a country unto itself. Their domain might literally just be a single fortress. What kind of Slaanesh Demon engine would you like to see be made? I would like a new model for the Subjugator, because that thing looked cool. What are your other acolytes like besides Narina? Check out the homebrew link for the Ordo Theoreticus. There you go. Voice of the Emperor asks, is Ghazghkull the Abaddon of the Orcs? If you mean, is he the biggest threat to the Imperium of that particular faction? Yeah, he is. How long did the birth of Slaanesh take? A few minutes. The gestation, on the other hand, took several thousands of years, because the gestation of Slaanesh actually resulted in the warp storms that brought about the Age of Strife. But when Slaanesh itself was actually born, there was only a few minutes. Created a tear in the fabric of reality, the Eye of Terror, become the warp, ended the Age of Strife, and the Emperor goes, hey, we can go on Great Crusade now, whoopee! Ghost Reaper asks, will Khorne manage to corrupt Tuska Demon Killer and his orcs, or will Gork and Mork prevent him from doing so? Right, so my knowledge in regards to the lore of Tuska is that, from what I've read, when Tuska first died fighting the Blood Prince, his soul was claimed by Khorne because it was taken directly to the Brass Citadel, which is Khorne's stronghold. And on a daily basis, Khorne resurrects Tuska and his armies to fight his demon generals for his own amusement. So whether this means he's corrupted by Khorne is another matter entirely, but since Khorne actually claimed the souls to take him to the Brass Citadel, this makes it look like Gork and Mork have no claim on the soul anymore. If the orcs under Tuska are still able to shed their spores in Khorne's realm, will they eventually overrun his Brass Citadel? I don't think so, because Khorne's realm is a realm of blood and fire. So you could argue that all the demonic fire just burns the spores away. Or that, it doesn't really count because, being resurrected daily basis, are they actually still alive? Is it just ghosts fighting, for lack of a better term? Who knows at this point? It's like the time Horus went into Khorne's realm and spent, centuries fighting against a whole bunch of things in the warp. Cavemen, orcs, Necrons, termagants. He fought a lot of things there. So you could argue, are they the souls of the things? Are they the actual things themselves? Who knows? Justin asks, would Dante ever take on the Primaris upgrade willingly, or do you think it would take him to be critically wounded to have it done without his consent? Well, apparently, according to the new rumours regarding the Mephiston model, the only reason that Mephiston underwent the Primaris upgrade was to stop Dante from doing so. So I think Dante would be willing, but I don't think anyone wants to risk Dante's life at this point. Brent Feast asks, we know Imperium armies on the tabletop have access to a wide variety of different soup armies. Chaos and Eldari have some decent variety too, and even Tyranids have both the High Fleets and Genestealer cults. If the rumours of 9th edition next year are to be believed, is there anything they could do to give additional factions to the Orcs or Necrons? Well, with the Orcs, you could go for things like, Cult of Speed armies, Dread mobs, Rebel Grot armies if you want to go all out. Necrons, I don't think there's really anything you can do for Necrons at this point, yet. Keyword being yet. There seems to be some inconsistency in what makes chapters Codex compliant and what doesn't. For example, Blood Angels are not considered Codex compliant despite their only real deviation being the existence of the Death Company, while the Iron Hands are considered Codex compliant despite organising all of their companies in a completely different way and being ruled by a council rather than a single chapter master. Could you clarify this? It is worth noting that there is a difference between Codex compliant, Codex divergent, and Codex non-compliant. So a non-Codex compliant chapter would be something akin to, say, the Space Wolves, because the Initiates join the Assault Squads first instead of the Scout Squads. The Scouts are actually formed by veterans. As they get older, they actually go from Assault Squad to Tactical Squad to Devastator Squad. They ride giant wolves, whereas a Codex Divergent chapter would be something like the Dark Angels, which mostly follows the spirit of the Codex except for the Deathwing and Ravenwing companies, and the Inner Circle. So in regards to the Blood Angels, it's not so much they're not Codex compliant, they're actually more of a Codex Divergent chapter. The Iron Hands, you got me on that one. It's a mess, I'll admit. I'm not well versed in Mechanicus etiquette. Is it rude to ask how much of you is still organic? No, I don't think so. I'm not going to tell you. That guy asks, which of the assassin temples would you prefer if you had to hire an assassin? Well, that would depend on the mission in question. If I was just going after someone from the Administratum or, a planetary governor or something, the Vanus Temple would be best because they're good at making people have accidents. But if I had to go for an all-purpose jack-of-all-trades route, I would probably go for the Kalidas Temple. Because, let's be honest, shape-shifting assassins are fucking scary, and pretty bloody useful. Zero Hits asks, what sort of maintenance does a servitor go through, considering that it has organic parts that need to stay mostly alive? I think in regards to servitors' organics, they're basically given the bare minimum. So like the bare minimum of nutrition, for example, is fed to the servitor in order to refuel the organic components. If an organic component becomes diseased, for example, or becomes gangrenous, they'll probably just lop it off and replace it with a bionic. And finally, Kenneth asks, do you think the reasons the traitor Primarchs had to betray the Emperor were justified? That's a whole huge can of worms. Some of them, debatably yes, some of them, no, you must be joking. For example, with Magnus in the end was somewhat justified for turning traitor because, the Space Wolves attacked him because he had the audacity to warn the Emperor of Horus betraying him. So the fact that Magnus goes, oh well, fuck you then, I'm gonna join the bad guys. I mean, granted, he may not have known at the time that Horus was behind the attack, but still, if he didn't know, he is somewhat justified. Perturabo, on the other hand, was just being a petulant fucking child. Same with Mortarion, both of which being fucking children. Their arguments are harder to justify somewhat, though at the same time the Emperor wasn't exactly a good dad. Long story short, some yes, some no, some maybe. And that concludes this episode of the Patreon Q&A sessions. As always, if you would like your questions answered, then click the link in the video description below and help support the channel by becoming a patron. Until next time, this has been Remlace from 40k Theories, and we'll see you again soon. Bye bye!